Hello everyone, the name's Learo. Sorry this one took so long, with finals recently going on, it took longer than anticipated to complete this video. Anyways, recently we had the release of Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, so to recognize that, I will be doing a Gen 4 run. I will be attempting to beat Pokemon Platinum with a single Cranidos. Cranidos is easily my favorite fossil Pokemon, and I'm disappointed by how little love it gets. So, today Cranidos gets the spotlight, and we will be finding out, can I beat Pokemon Platinum with only one Cranidos? Cranidos is a fairly decent Pokemon with a base stat total of 350, just stronger than most first form starters. We have a very high attack stat and an okay speed stat, but our defenses are quite low. We're just gonna have to hope we have a beneficial nature. By level up, Cranidos learns a few moves worth noting, those being Zen Headbutt, Takedown, and Head Smash. Through TMs though, we are able to learn much better moves like Rock Slide, Stone Edge, Earthquake, Rock Climb, as well as some other niche moves. Hopefully these moves can help to carry us through the run. Let me explain the rules. In battle, I am only allowed to use Cranidos. I will need other Pokemon for the use of HMs, but I will not be allowing the use of them in battle. I will not be allowing the use of glitches or exploits. There will be no items in battle. Only Pokeballs, held items, and items outside of battle are allowed. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as I'm planning to do more of these in the future. And let me know if there's a certain Pokemon you'd like to see me use in a future challenge, as I'm open to suggestions. To start out the game, Barry almost attempts suicide by running into the tall grass without a Pokemon. Meanwhile, Professor Rowan rethinks all of his life decisions before giving us our very own Cranidos. I used the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to switch out Piplup with Cranidos, that way Barry would have Turtwig, because that will easily be the most difficult for us to fight. The beginning rival battle though goes quite smoothly. Headbutt is pretty strong for this early in the game, and all it takes is 3 headbutts for us to win, and we take very little damage in the process. We take a moment to look at our Cranidos, and Mold Breaker might not be the best ability, but it might help us for a couple of battles, and our nature is probably one of the worst ones we could get. Quiet. This means we will have an increased special attack with decreased speed. We will almost never use special attacks, so this kind of stinks. Oh well, time to move on then. After officially being given our starter, Barry thinks that we're ready to catch the legendary Pokemon, which defeats the purpose of this run, but I'll entertain it. We meet this strange man with blue hair who talks about space or time or something. Probably nothing important that we need to worry about. And then Barry remembers that you do indeed need Pokeballs to catch Pokemon, so we head over to the lab to get some. And Barry, being the speed demon that he is, runs over and gets his way, though we get the chance to finally nickname our Cranidos Kirishima, so really, who wins this? Receiving what will eventually become the power of friendship, on our way out of the lab, we go to inform our mother that we will be leaving to go get some milk, just as father did before. Dawn gives us the most useless tutorial we could possibly have for this challenge, and we are finally able to start playing the game. On our way to the Rock-type gym, we run into Barry. He leads with his Starly, which is taken down to half health with Headbutt, and deals very little damage with Tackle in the first turn. He then lowers our attack with Growl before we finish it off with another Headbutt. Turtwig takes quite a while to defeat due to it spamming Withdraw almost the entire time. After many Headbutts though, he finally goes down. A very simple and straightforward fight. We will definitely have problems in the future though. No need to worry about that now though. On towards Roark we go. Our first attempt goes quite poorly. We are under leveled and are almost instantly taken out by a Rock Throw from Geodude. We grind up to level 14 for the next attempt, which does not go much better. We used Focus Energy to bank on crits and get hit by Rock Throw for decent damage. Next turn we crit Pursuit for half of their health and are brought down to half ourselves by Rock Throw. Next turn we use Pursuit and get brought down to low health. Roark then heals up and we get finished off on the next turn. I'm starting to think I'm going to need to be quite the high level for this. Once at level 18 we go in with the same strategy. Use Focus Energy and spam Pursuit while praying for crits. This time we are more successful though. We crit our first Pursuit and take him down to low while getting hit by Rock Throw. On the next turn Roark heals up again and we crit another Pursuit, allowing us to finish him off on the next turn, taking minimal damage. Next up is Onyx and we do very little damage with Pursuit and get crit by Rock Throw instantly. We continue to trade hits until Roark heals up Onyx and finishes us off. Next time I feel like we've got this for sure. We grind up to level 20 and walk in very confident despite getting completely rocked the other 3 attempts. Rocked? Okay, tough crowd, I get it. We start out with Focus Energy while taking damage from Rock Throw. Pursuit deals decent damage to Geodude while Rock Throw does little to us. On the next turn, Pursuit brings Geodude down to a sliver of health. Roark then heals and over 2 turns goes down to Pursuit. Onyx is out next and gets crit for more than half by our Pursuit and does some damage to us with a crit Rock Throw. Another crit essentially cancels out the potion, bringing him right back down. One more Pursuit takes him out and now we are against his own Cranidos. We are easily able to win the mirror match though, just due to being overleveled. And with that, we receive our first gym badge of the run. I did not expect Geodude to be such a hurdle for us, but after some grinding, we were able to figure it out. On our way to Eterna City, we have our first big run-in with Team Galactic at the Valley Windworks. We swept through all the regular trainers here, so let's just talk about Mars. She leads with Zubat that is immediately one-shot by Rock Tomb. Purugly is next and uses Fake Out to get a little bit of damage on us. She then uses Feint Attack for a very little amount of damage while we are able to do over half with Rock Tomb and get a speed drop. Because she is holding a berry though, Purugly heals up back to half. That doesn't matter though, as we are able to finish off Purugly easily on the next turn with Rock Tomb. While going through Eterna Forest, we are forced to allow Cheryl to help us in battle. I'm allowing this because I literally cannot move forward in this challenge without doing battles here. And I would have to waste so many turns trying to kill her Chansey every single battle if I was not. I only did the battles that were mandatory double battles with Cheryl. That way I only had her for 1 or 2 battles and was able to single battle the rest of my way through. Let me know whether you think I should allow this in future runs or if I should have to kill Chansey every double battle to add to my suffering. I'm worried about this gym as I am with many in this run, but it can't be that bad, right? First turn we hit Rock Tomb while Turtwig sets up Reflect. On the next turn we try to finish it off with Assurance, but it gets healed up with the Super Potion. We then manage to miss 2 Rock Tombs in a row while Turtwig sets up Sunny Day and then hits us with Grass Knot for massive damage. We then finally hit Rock Tomb for decent damage and get hit by a Razor Leaf in return for the remainder of our health bar. Well, that was quite an unlucky attempt. Let's go again. Next attempt we missed Takedown while they set up Reflect again. On the next turn, Takedown does about half to Turtwig and Grass Knot once again does quite a lot of damage. Takedown then just barely misses the kill while we get knocked out by Grass Knot. You know what they say, 3rd time's a charm, but unfortunately this time it was not true. Takedown does similar damage to Rock Tomb on the first attempt and Turtwig uses Reflect. Like the first time they heal up, but I go for Rock Tomb which does a little less than half. Takedown then misses on the next turn while she sets up Sunny Day. We then hit Takedown for good damage and get crit by Razor Leaf and die. Okay then, I'll stop being stubborn and go grind now. Coming back at level 28 was still not enough. We were fortunate enough to land all of our Rock Tombs, but Reflect is really killing us here. We're going to have to grind until we are able to one-shot Turtwig. We make another attempt at level 30. Turtwig is now one-shot to Rock Tomb, so no Reflect is able to be put up. Assurance does about half to Charm as we get hit by a Leech Seed. We are then able to finish it off with Rock Tomb on the next turn. Roserade is Gardenia's final Pokemon. Grass Knot is almost able to one-shot us, and we miss Rock Tomb. Leech Seed then brings us down to 1 health and allows Roserade to finish us off on the next turn. Back to grinding we go. Back again at level 34, and this time we learn Zed Headbutt beforehand to hopefully deal with Roserade. We are still able to one-shot Turtwig with Rock Tomb, and then Charm comes out and is also one-shot by a Rock Tomb. Roserade finally comes out, and after all this grinding can be one-shot by Zen Headbutt. That was quite rough. I am really hoping this means we don't have to grind again for a little while. With Grass Gym taken down, we are able to infiltrate the Team Galactic building in Eterna City. At the top, we are challenged by Commander Jupiter. She starts out with Zubat, which is quickly one-shot by Zen Headbutt, and we level up from it. Next, she sends out her illegal Stunk Tank. We use Rock Tomb, and after the berry, Stunk Tank is at about half health. Night Slash does very little damage to us, and we finish her off with another Rock Tomb. Immediately after, we make our way to Hearthome City and challenge Fantina while we're there. Duskull is the first one out, and we immediately one-shot it with Assurance. Fantina then sends out her ace Miss Magius. Miss Magius is also one-shot by Assurance though. Haunter is her final Pokemon, and to mix it up, we decide to one-shot with Zen Headbutt this time. I am so glad we finally had an easy gym in this run. Grinding has not been fun. On our way out of town, we run into Barry. He leads with Staravia, which has Intimidate, lowering our attack for the entire battle. Staravia gets one-shot by Rock Tomb anyways though, and Weasel comes out next. We are easily able to land the one-shot with Zen Headbutt. Next up is the only Pokemon of his that I'm actually worried about, Grotto. We do about half with Zen Headbutt, and he raises his defenses with Withdrawal. Zen Headbutt does decent damage again, and gets a flinch, which allows us to finish him off on the next turn. I guess there was no real need to worry about it this time. We are then able to one-shot Ponyta with a Zen Headbutt, ending the fight in a no-damage sweep. This one ended up being quite easy, but I don't imagine it being this way in the future. We then challenge the Fighting-type Gym Leader, one of the many gyms that scare us in this run. Meditite starts with a Fake Out, which deals very little damage to us, and we get flinched. We then one-shot with Zen Headbutt on the next turn though. Machoke comes out and is also quickly defeated by a Zen Headbutt. Lucario is her final Pokemon and goes for Force Palm, dealing massive damage. Zen Headbutt does some okay damage to her, but it doesn't really matter since we're finished off by another Force Palm. Quite unfortunate, but maybe we'll get lucky in the next one. Once again, Meditite starts with a Fake Out, dealing little damage, and we get flinched. Then we one-shot with Zen Headbutt. Machoke comes out and is also quickly defeated by a Zen Headbutt. Just like last time, Lucario does really good damage on the first turn. This time she mixed it up though and went for Drain Punch. Still brings us to below half, and it doesn't even matter what we do because we were finished off on the next turn anyways. There were a few more attempts identical to these, but I'm not going to show them since this video is already going to be long enough. After we decided that banging our head up against the wall was not a valid strategy for Maylene, we go to pick up the TM for Earthquake and come back with a vengeance. The beginning goes similarly to before. Meditite flinches us on the first turn with Fake Out, and we one-shot with Zen Headbutt turn 2. Machoke gets obliterated by Zen Headbutt as always. Then the Gatekeeper Lucario is brought out, and we quickly learn the importance of having a super effective move as Lucario is one-shot by Earthquake. And just like that, Gym Badge number 3, well, technically 4, is acquired. This gym became so much easier when I just picked up Earthquake. I'm not looking forward to this next gym though, being water themed and all, but we will give it our best shot. On our way into the gym though, we are caught by Barry demanding a fight, so that's what we'll give him. Staravia is his lead as always, and Intimidate lowers our attack, but Rock Tomb one-shots anyways. Weasel is next and uses Aqua Jet for a small amount of damage, as we then use Zen Headbutt for the one-shot. Grotto is brought out next, and we go for Zen Headbutt, which deals a little less than half, and Razor Leaf does about 70 damage to us. On the next turn, I go for Rock Tomb, but that does similar damage, and we end up being finished off by Razor Leaf. That was rough, let's try again. Beginning of the fight was almost identical to the first. We one-shot Staravia and Weasel, which brings us to Grotto. This time, I attempt to use Takedown, but that only serves to bring us closer to death as we are two-shot by Grotto once again. I have a choice here between trying for a crit on Grotto, or just grinding a few more levels. I guess I'm grinding again. At level 50, we come looking for the run back. Staravia's Intimidate lowers our attack, but like before, we one-shot with Rock Tomb. Weasel comes out and deals some damage with Aqua Jet before being killed by Zen Headbutt. Next up is Grotto, and I'm hoping this grinding allows us to deal enough damage. Takedown is our move of choice, and it is actually a one-shot due to a crit. I guess we take those? It probably would have been a two-shot otherwise, but I guess we will never know. Next out is Ponyta, which is one-shot by Rock Tomb. Quite the polarizing fight this time. Oh well, time to move on then. The first attempt at Crash or Wake goes about how I expected. We are unable to one-shot Gyarados with Rock Tomb because of Intimidate. Waterfall then does massive damage to us. Wake heals up, and we use Zen Headbutt for some okay damage. We then finish it off with Rock Tomb. Quagsire is next and quickly finishes us off. I'm not going to be stubborn this time and keep trying. Time to switch up the strategy. We start by grinding levels on Cranidos, as well as leaving a Pachirisu in the party holding an EXP share. That way, once it hits level 41, I can get a White Herb from the pickup ability. The White Herb will allow us to nullify the effects of Intimidate, hopefully making that fight easier. After many hours of grinding, we were unable to find a White Herb, but we reached level 60 on Cranidos in the meantime, so we might as well give it a shot. We lead with Rock Tomb, but miss and get hit by Waterfall. Unfortunate, but it shouldn't matter too much. We go for Rock Tomb again, and somehow miss? Okay. Surely we don't miss the third one, right? No, of course we miss again and lose. That was very unlucky, but we're just gonna pretend like it never happened. We come back with much less confidence than before and try again. Rock Tomb actually lands and Gyarados is a one-shot, already going much better than before. Quagsire is next and we use Earthquake for massive damage while he misses Rock Tomb for a change. The irony of the situation. We then finish it off with a Zen Headbutt. Finally, we make it to Wake's ace Pokemon, Floatzel. We hit it with an Earthquake, bringing it to red, but a berry heals it back up to the yellow. Brine hits us and deals about half of our health. Another Earthquake finishes off Floatzel, earning us the 5th gym badge. This one was expectantly rough, but we should not need to grind again for quite a while. Cynthia asks us to deliver something to her grandma in Celestic Town, and while we are there, we have our second run-in with the Team Galactic leader, Cyrus. He challenges us to a battle, but it was a piece of cake as we one-shot every member of his team with Rock Tomb. I am personally expecting us to breeze through the rest of the game up until time for the champion, where I fully expect us to struggle for quite a bit. Oh well, we will worry about that when the time comes. Now we are finally able to start the Steel Gym. Oh, come on! Well, time for Berry again. Staraptor, just as its pre-evolution, is one-shot to Rock Tomb despite the Intimidate drop. Floatzel is next and gets crit Aqua Jet for massive damage while Earthquake is the one-shot. Next up is Torterra, and we do half with Zen Headbutt, but then we are hit by Leech Seed, and due to that healing, we are unable to finish it off on the next turn and get hit by Razor Leaf for the remainder of our health. Well, here we go again, because I never know when to give up. Staraptor is still a one-shot by Rock Tomb, and Floatzel comes out and for some reason does not go for Aqua Jet, allowing us to one-shot with no damage taken. Then comes out Torterra. We once again go for Zen Headbutt, but this time we get a flinch. This allows us to finish it off for free on the next turn. Then we have Heracross, which is quickly taken out by a single Zen Headbutt. That brings us to Rapidash, which we get rid of as quickly as it appeared. Wow, it was really that simple. Just don't get hit and you win. Well, now that that's out of the way, we can take on the next gym. Byron goes on and on about his son Roark before we get in the battle, but little does he know, we plan to take him out solely using his own son's ace Pokemon. Magneton is up first, and we are able to one-shot it with Earthquake. Then is Steelix, which we are also able to one-shot with Earthquake. And then you'll never guess what happened with Bastiodon. We were able to one-shot it with Earthquake, since Mold Breaker cancels out Sturdy. It is nice to have a gym fight actually go well on the first try. Quite refreshing. Before we can do anything else though, we have to go to Iron Island and get the HM for Strength. Nothing too important happened here aside from a lot of Lucario deaths and, a joke I am above making. Afterwards, we find out the world is ending, blah blah blah, every 10-year-old in Pokemon's biggest issue. Let's go fight Saturn. He leads with Golbat and we miss Zen Headbutt as he misses Toxic. We then miss another Zen Headbutt as we get hit by Supersonic. We hit ourselves on the next turn and get hit by a crit bite. Now at half HP, Cranidos decides to stop messing around and actually start playing the game by one-shotting Golbat with Zen Headbutt. Bronzor is similarly one-shot by Earthquake. Toxicroak, his final Pokemon, is also taken down by a single Earthquake. Quick and easy, just as I expected. Afterwards, we move on to Lake Verity because Dawn can't seem to handle things on her own, we battle Mars. She leads with her Golbat, which we are able to one-shot with Zen Headbutt, much better than Saturn's. Bronzor is also quickly one-shot by Earthquake, bringing us to our final Pokemon, Purugly. Purugly hits us with a crit fake out for some damage, but that was futile as we one-shot on the next turn with Earthquake. Once again, a quick and easy fight. On towards Snow Point City we go. Hopefully Barry is doing better than Dawn. We make it to Snow Point with no problems and challenge Candace. Her first Pokemon is Sneasel, which is an easy one-shot by Earthquake. Next up is Piloswine, who meets a similar fate after being one-shot by Earthquake. Then a Bomb of Snow is brought out, setting up the Hail. He goes down quickly to a single Rock Tomb though. This leaves us against Frostclass, which despite the evasion boost in Hail, is hit and one-shot by Earthquake, earning us the Ice-type badge. This was quite an easy gym as I predicted it would be. Before we go to check on Barry, we pick up the very needed TM for Rock Slide since we finally have access to Rock Climb. It is quite annoying that we could not get it any sooner, but better late than never, I guess. We found out Barry was just as incompetent at his job as Dawn, and we head over to the Veilstone HQ. We run into Cyrus and he challenges us to a battle. He leads with Sneasel, which immediately gets one-shot by Rock Slide from Kirishima. Crobat is next and is actually faster than us, landing a Confuse Ray. Luckily for us though, we are able to hit Rock Slide for the Oko. Finally, he sends out Honchkrow. Just as the Pokemon before, he goes down to a single Rock Slide. After losing to a child, Cyrus decides to give us a Master Ball. Obviously very helpful for this run. Now that we properly used that, we can move on. Afterwards, we attempt to free the Lake Guardians, but Saturn decides to try and stop us. He leads with Golbat, which is one-shot by Rock Slide. He then brings out Bronzor, who is also a one-shot, but this time by Earthquake. Finally, he sends out Toxicroak, but we use Zen Headbutt to end the quote-unquote fight. We then release the Lake Guardians and realize that Team Galactic already had what they needed. We then head over to Spear Pillar. We make it up to the top after being lost for longer than I'd like to admit. We were then forced into a double battle against Jupiter and Mars, but oh, don't you worry, we have Barry coming to the rescue. The commanders lead with 2 Bronzors. We use Earthquake to take both of them out at the same time. Oh yeah, and we also kill Barry's Munchlax as collateral damage. They then send out Golbat and Purugly, and Barry sends out his Rapidash in an attempt to help us. spoiler alert, it doesn't. We use Rock Slide to KO both Purugly and Golbat while Barry sits there and watches. They then send out Stunk Tank and Golbat, which we obviously one-shot with Rock Slide for an easy victory. Barry, we did not need your help. Afterwards, Cyrus does some wonky stuff to put us into the distortion world. And after spending much longer than I'd like to admit on a children's puzzle, we make our way to Cyrus. He leads with Houndoom, which we are able to one-shot with Rock Slide. Then Gyarados comes out and hits us with Intimidate, lowering our attack. We are still able to one-shot it though with Rock Slide, no problem. Weavile's next and uses Fake Out for some quick damage. He then goes for Night Slash on the follow-up, only to be one-shot by Rock Slide. Honchkrow then comes out to meet a similar fate after a singular Rock Slide. Crobat is his final Pokemon and its Confuse Ray hits us as we hit ourselves. He then goes for Toxic and poisons us as we hit ourselves again. This brings us down to only 71 health. Next turn we are hit by an Air Slash as we break out of confusion and end the fight with Rock Slide. That got way too close for my liking. Then we were forced to fight Giratina. He puts up a better fight than most Pokemon, but he was no stronger than Crasher Wake, so we defeat him easily. Now that that's over, we break down apart? Whatever it is we do to stop evil people doing evil things and get back to our badge journey. Once we've made our way to Sunyshore, we find ourselves against Volkner. He leads with Jolteon, who we outspeed somehow and one-shot with Earthquake. Raichu is next, and we are also able to one-shot it with Earthquake. Then he sends out Electivire, who also gets one-shot by Earthquake. As I notice a trend, Luxray gets sent out and is knocked out by Earthquake. Easy victory for us as we get the final gym badge. Now on to the Elite Four and Champion. Here are our stats before the Elite Four. Sitting at level 86, we have a massive attack stat and an okay speed stat with mediocre defenses. This could prove to make this quite difficult. Our moveset is quite strong though, with Rock Slide as our main stab move, Earthquake as a very strong 100% accuracy move, Zen Headbutt for coverage, and Takedown because I don't know what else to use. We're also holding a Razor Claw to make critical hits happen more often. Now, onto the Elite Four. But before we can challenge them, Barry challenges us to another battle. As always, Staraptor is his lead and Intimidate lowers our attack. We are able to one-shot with Rock Slide, at least that's what I thought I would be saying, but we miss and get crit by close combat for almost all of our health, but we are able to one-shot with Rock Slide on the next turn. However, this doesn't matter as Floatzel finishes us off with Aqua Jet anyways. Unfortunate, but I'm sure we can win this. We are just gonna skip past a couple attempts though because I somehow managed to miss all of my moves. So on the next attempt where we aren't constantly missing our moves, we one-shot Staraptor on the first turn with Rock Slide. Then he brings out Floatzel, who just sits there and let me one-shot with Earthquake. Next up is Torterra, and we hit Zen Headbutt for decent damage and a flinch. Then on the next turn, we actually do the exact same thing, allowing us to finish it off on the third turn with no damage taken. Heracross is brought out, but is immediately one-shot by a Zen Headbutt, leading us to Snorlax. He tanks a Rock Slide for about 3/4 of his health, while we are hit by Earthquake for about 1/3 of ours. We finish him off using Zen Headbutt on the next turn, which leaves us against Rapidash. It doesn't put up any fight since we are able to one-shot with Earthquake. Looking back at it now, I realized every single time we won against Barry, we got a flinch with Zen Headbutt on his starter. Talk about being lucky. First up on the chopping block is Aaron and his bug types. His lead is Yanmega, one of the best bug types in my opinion. We miss our first Rock Slide and get hit by Bug Buzz for decent damage as he gets a speed boost from his ability. This makes him faster on the next turn, but he goes for Double Team, which doesn't matter as we land Rock Slide for the one shot. Next is Scizor, which is an easy one shot with Earthquake. Then we have Heracross, which we've seen quite a few of during our journey, so it's an easy kill with Zen Headbutt. Next is Vespiquen, who goes down to a single Rock Slide, leaving Drapion to try and beat us. It does not succeed as we one-shot it with Earthquake. Next up is Bertha and her ground types. First up is the most problematic, being Whiscash. Luckily though, we are able to knock it out with a single Earthquake. Next up is Hippodon. It meets a similar fate to that of Whiscash, being one-shot by Earthquake. Then Golem is sent out and, as you would expect, it is able to be one-shot by Earthquake. Similarly, Rhyperior is also brought out only to go down from a single Earthquake. And finally, we are against her ace Gliscor. Then Headbutt does about 2/3 of Gliscor's health, but now we are the one getting hit by Earthquake for about half of our health. This doesn't end up mattering though, since we finish off with another Zen Headbutt on the next turn. That went surprisingly well. Hopefully the rest goes like this. Now we are challenged by my favorite member of the Elite Four, Flint and his fire types. His lead Pokemon is Houndoom. We choose to use Rock Slide for the easy one-shot. Next is Infernape, who is one-shot from Earthquake. We are then able to one-shot Rapidash with a Rock Slide, getting an unnecessary crit in the process. Magmortar also lives a short life, being knocked out by a single Rock Slide. This leaves us against Flint's Flareon. We use Earthquake for the guaranteed one-shot. Quite easy, but that's kind of what we expected here. Next up is, in my opinion, one of the most forgettable Pokemon characters, Lucian. Like, seriously, I didn't even know this guy existed, but he is our next challenge. challenge, so here we go. We begin the battle by one-shotting Mr. Mime with Earthquake. Then Bronzong comes out, and because of Mold Breaker, we are able to bypass Levitate and kill with a single Earthquake. This is the second time the entire run that this ability has actually been useful. Anyways, next is Galactic, and that's right, you guessed it, use another Earthquake for the one-shot. Then Alexam is sent out, and we once again one-shot with Earthquake. Continuing with the trend of this battle, we use Earthquake to one-shot Lucian's Espeon, winning the battle and finishing our run against the Elite Four. They were not as much of a challenge as I thought they would be. This brings us to the champion Cynthia. Spiritomb is her lead, and we use Earthquake, which is just shy of a one-shot. Cynthia then heals up as we bring her right back down with Earthquake. She then gets a huge read on me by swapping out the Togekiss, making my next Earthquake do 0 damage. We were able to get a one-shot on the next turn with Rock Slide though, so it doesn't really matter. Lucario comes out, giving me flashbacks to Maylene, but just like Maylene's, all we need is a natural disaster to get the one-shot. Next is Milotic, which after a few seconds of thinking, we use Earthquake on, which seems to be fatal as it just barely misses the one-shot and we are killed by Surf. In between attempts, I do some damage calcs and discover that Rock Slide is a one-shot on Spiritomb and Milotic with a high damage roll. Unfortunately though, we miss Rock Slide this first time, resulting in damage taken from Spiritomb, but we are proven correct on the next turn. Lucario is taken out by Earthquake once again. However, once we get to Milotic, we have a low damage roll, and because of that, we lose again. Attempt number 3, we successfully one-shot Spiritomb with Rock Slide on the first turn. Just as before, one Earthquake kills Lucario, and we are brought back to Milotic. For some reason, we decided to use Earthquake, as Surf brings us to very low health, and Cynthia then heals up on the next turn for Earthquake to crit one-shot the Milotic. Garchomp is next, and we don't even deal half with Earthquake after the berry. Garchomp then easily finishes us off, losing the fight. This time we remove Takedown and teach Return to Cranidos to try and deal with Garchomp better. Rock Slide one-shots the Spiritomb, Earthquake one-shots Lucario, and a high roll Rock Slide one-shots Milotic. This gives us a big advantage as we are still at full health. Return puts Garchomp just above half after consuming the berry. One more attack with the Power of Friendship finishes off Garchomp. Next is Roserade, who quickly gets one-shot by Rock Slide, and just as Togekiss is brought out, it is also one-shot by Rock Slide, winning us the fight. It would have been more hype if Garchomp was the last Pokemon, but we made it anyways. Winning this fight puts us into the Hall of Fame, making us the champion of Sinnoh with just a single Cranidos at level 93. Roark, I hope I did you proud. I really enjoyed this challenge and hope you enjoyed watching. This run was much more difficult than expected, but it makes sense as we were weak to quite a few of the early on gyms. I also learned just how frail Cranidos really is. Most fights became a matter of one-shot the opponent or be one-shot myself. I plan to do more challenge videos in the future, so if you've enjoyed this one and watched this far, you might as well subscribe for more. I also want to make Nuzlocke or more episodic like content while working on longer projects like this one. I'm currently not sure what it will be or what game I'll play it in, but you can give me suggestions for that down below in the comments and maybe I'll do it. Once again, thanks for watching and goodbye. Oh yeah, you know what this graph means. Just do it.